Story number 1. The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 on March 8, 2014, remains the greatest mystery in modern aviation history. It is a case defined by a chilling silence and a complete lack of traditional distress signals. The Vanishing Act. The Boeing 777-200ER took off from Kuala Lumpur bound for Beijing with 239 people on board. About 40 minutes into the flight, as it approached Vietnamese airspace, the aircraft's transponder was manually switched off. The final communication from the cockpit was a calm, "Good night, Malaysian 370. No mayday call, no reports of bad weather, and no technical alarms were ever triggered. A deviated path. Military radar later revealed that the plane did not simply vanish, it performed an unauthorized U-turn, flying back across the Malay Peninsula before turning south toward the remote southern Indian Ocean. The handshake data. Since the plane's tracking systems were off, investigators relied on pings, or automated satellite handshakes. This data suggested the aircraft flew for over 7 hours until it likely ran out of fuel. The search. Despite an international search effort covering over 120,000 square kilometers of the ocean floor, the most expensive in history, the main wreckage and the black boxes were never located. Physical evidence. Only years later did small pieces of debris, such as a flaperon, wash up on the shores of Reunion Island and the East African coast, confirming the plane had crashed into the ocean. The unsolved legacy. Today, the disappearance of MH370 is fueled by numerous theories, ranging from a catastrophic mechanical failure to deliberate pilot action. However, without the flight data recorders, the truth remains submerged. It serves as a haunting reminder of the limitations of global surveillance and a source of unresolved grief for the families of those on board. Story number 2. The bizarre disappearance of 1872. What happened aboard the Mary Celeste? On December 4, 1872, the brigantine Mary Celeste was found drifting aimlessly in the Atlantic Ocean, about 400 miles east of the Azores. When the crew of the Dei Gratia boarded the vessel, they encountered a chilling scene. The ship was perfectly seaworthy, sails were partially set, and the cargo of 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol remained intact. However, all 10 people on board, including Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, daughter, and 7 crew members, had vanished without a trace. Historical facts debunk popular myths of sea monsters or alien abductions. At the scene, the only lifeboat was missing, along with essential navigational tools like the chronometer and sextant. The last logbook entry had been made 9 days prior. There were no signs of a mutiny or a pirate attack, as personal belongings and food supplies were still in place. The most plausible theory suggests that a leakage of alcohol fumes led Captain Briggs to fear an imminent explosion, prompting an order to temporarily abandon ship. It is likely that the lifeboat, tethered to the main vessel, became detached during rough seas, leaving the occupants stranded at the mercy of the vast ocean. To this day, the ultimate fate of the Mary Celeste's crew remains one of history's most enduring maritime mysteries. Story number 3. Unlocking the Dead Zone, the Bermuda Triangle Mystery. The truth about the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle has remained one of the planet's greatest mysteries, capturing human imagination for decades. However, when viewed through the lens of science and factual data, the reality of this region is far less supernatural than what movies portray. Located in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, the area is bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Famous disappearances such as Flight 19 in 1945 and the USS Cyclops in 1918 cemented its terrifying reputation. Nevertheless, major organizations like the U.S. Coast Guard and Lloyd's of London maintain that the number of accidents here is not significantly higher than in any other heavily traveled maritime region. Scientists have proposed several natural explanations rather than theories involving aliens or the lost city of Atlantis. The Gulf Stream, a powerful current that can swiftly sweep away debris and evidence of a crash. Seafloor topography. This region contains some of the world's deepest oceanic trenches, making wreckage recovery nearly impossible. Extreme weather. Sudden storms and rogue waves reaching up to 30 meters can easily overwhelm the largest vessels. Methane hydrates. Large releases of methane gas from the seafloor can reduce water density, causing ships to lose buoyancy and sink rapidly. In summary, while the legends of unexplained disappearances are captivating, the evidence suggests that the Bermuda Triangle is primarily a victim of a deadly combination of harsh environmental factors and high traffic volume. Story number 4. The Jack the Ripper Case, an identity forever veiled in mystery. In the autumn of 1888, the impoverished slums of Whitechapel in London were gripped by terror with the emergence of a serial killer known as Jack the Ripper. He murdered at least 5 women, commonly referred to as the Canonical Five, with brutal methods that displayed a disturbing knowledge of human anatomy. Despite large-scale investigations by the Metropolitan Police and the interrogation of hundreds of suspects, the killer was never apprehended. The failure to identify Jack the Ripper stemmed from several objective factors of the era. In the 19th century, modern forensic techniques such as DNA testing, fingerprinting, and criminal profiling did not yet exist. Furthermore, the chaos of the Whitechapel district and the media's constant sensationalism of anonymous letters, such as the Dear Boss letter, diluted genuine clues. Although countless theories have been proposed over the past 130 years, implicating everyone from local doctors to members of the royal family, no evidence has been compelling enough to provide a definitive conclusion. To this day, Jack the Ripper remains the ultimate icon of true crime, a phantom killer who vanished into the shadows, leaving the case an eternal mystery. Story number 5. The Tamám Shud Mystery, the unidentified body on Somerton Beach. On the morning of December 1, 1948, the body of an elegantly dressed man was discovered on Somerton Beach, Adelaide. The victim carried no identification, all labels had been removed from his clothing, and his fingerprints matched no known records. An autopsy revealed severe internal congestion, sparking theories of an undetectable poison, though no toxic substances were ever found. The most bizarre twist emerged months later. A tiny scrap of paper was found hidden in a secret pocket of his trousers, bearing the phrase Tamám Shud, meaning finished or ended in Persian. This scrap was identified as having been torn from the final page of a poetry book, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Police later located the exact book in an unlocked car nearby. Inside, they found an unsolvable cipher and a phone number leading to a nurse named Jessica Thompson. Although she denied knowing the man, her terrified reaction upon seeing a plaster cast of his face fueled further suspicion. After more than 70 years, in 2022, modern DNA analysis identified the man as Carl Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. However, the reason for his presence in Adelaide, the meaning of the code, and whether his death was a suicide or a spy-related assassination remains a haunting question.